Travis, good afternoon.
Okay.
I noticed you ended today's practice by telling the guys that you liked the way that the game was trending. I think the one thing we've seen with this homestand with you guys being able to practice more, Travis, is we've seen more structure in your team's game. How is it balancing the structure that you want them to play with also letting your guys be creative? Because you've got a lot of creative guys on that top line.
By no means would it deny any creative hockey in our team. I think maybe that's a misconception when people say that structured hockey is eliminating skilled hockey. We still want our skilled players to play with skill. We want them to make plays, and that isn't being eliminated from our game. I think that the second game against Calgary, we had I want to say 19 scoring chances, and that's a high number.
How much do you look at this month of February, Travis, and thinking, you know what, if we can really go on a winning streak, we can really change our fate and change the way that the structure looks in the standings?
I think it's important that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves and just look at a bunch of games down the road. I truly believe that, and no matter where you're at in the season, you can't look too far ahead. For us, it's just getting ready to play the next game, making sure that our game is solid, and just repeating the process over and over. And hopefully at the end of the month, we've made up some ground. I think you run into problems if you start looking too far ahead too early in the year.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Next up is Ben Kuzma.
Hey, Travis.
Who's?
In practice today, you were running an offensive zone face-off drill where your instruction was for the inside guy to take a direct route to the net. Now, for a neophyte like myself, that would have an advantage if you won the face-off, obviously, Travis, to get a guy there. And if you lost the face-off, then there's some puck pursuit. What was the intent of that drill? Is that something that is missing or something that just needs reinforcing with the inside man on ozone face-off?
I got to start whispering out in practice so you guys don't hear me. But we were working on a couple different things in that drill. You obviously heard the 1 point. We were also working on the defensive side of it. When you lose a draw, those are things, little details in our game that we try to work on and touch on every day. Really, part of a face-off drill if we do it that day. So without getting into too much detail, that's what we were working on.
You talked at length about the value of practice time, Travis, and it's not just for your young players or your newcomers. I would imagine it's just a reinforcement tool. I mean, this compacted season, whether you've been in the league for 1 year or 10 years, practice can be super valuable. I mean, again, how important was today? It's another rare day to actually work on things.
Yeah, it's not just today. I think, we had a stretch there really from game 1 to game 14, 15, 16, where I think we had 3 practices.
Yeah.
I think we've had 4 in the last 8 to 10 days, it feels like. And we've got to take a look at certain parts of our game that we really felt needed improvement, that we tried improving on with video. And sometimes that's easier said than done. We had to actually go out and get hands-on and do some drills that help different parts of our game and give our guys credit. They worked hard in these practices. And, I think they're seeing their game come around in the last 4 games. We haven't necessarily won we haven't won as many games as we've liked in this last little stretch. But, there's going to be times where you're playing good teams every night. And Calgary's got a say in what you do as well. We played a pretty solid game last night. I thought they played a better game than they did the game before. The chances, they had a few more chances than us, but it was relatively low both ways. And we probably had a couple plays that ultimately we'd probably like back.
Thanks, Travis.
Yep.
We'll go now to Ian McIntyre.
Hey, Travis, I heard everything you said to every player. We're just going to run the transcript tomorrow.
All right.
But I do have a question about a couple of individuals that is not really game related, but, Thatcher today, he seemed, kind of hard on himself, like his body language. I know a couple of veterans at times went over and talked to him. Is he a guy who in particular wears losses hard or is especially hard on himself?
Nothing more than any other player I've seen or any other goalie. I personally didn't see Thatcher in that manner today in practice. I think if you watched him after a win, he'd probably be ultra competitive as well. That's the way goalies are. Good goalies in the league are competitive, and he's no different. But I think he's in a pretty good place.
Okay. My other question is about Nils, and I was thinking to last year, when Quinn Hughes was over at the same age as Nils. In fact, I think he was a year older. Sorry, Nils was a year younger now than Hughes was. But Hughes, he had veteran guys looking after him. Chris Tanev took him under his wing. He was going to guys' houses for dinner. He had the young guys as kind of a peer group to hang out with. I imagine things are very different with the pandemic. And as a coach, does it make it harder to make guys feel, at home and part of a group when there's so little that you can do socially to help?
Yeah, I think you worry about a little more with what's going on in our game and the society and how we're having to conduct ourselves. But we do check in with him regularly. Man, he just seems to have a smile on his face every day he comes to the rink, and he seems to be in pretty good spirits so far. His play would indicate that he's having fun. He's just a hockey player that loves coming to the rink and playing. He's got a lot of qualities that we talk about, that we look for in a Canuck. And, he's an exciting young player.
Thank you.
We'll go now to Farhan Lalji.
Travis, I want to ask you a little bit about Petey, who's got 11 points in his last 11 games. But more importantly, it just seems from watching him that he's been a lot more aggressive of late. He talked about how he was moving his feet more and skating better. What are you seeing in his game the last few weeks?
I think I'd agree with that. Any top player in the league is, you notice them skating, you notice them, like you said, moving their feet, wanting the puck, commanding the puck. I don't think he had his legs under him to start the season. I think he'd probably admit that he wasn't on top of his game. And, but he does seem to be getting to the level where he played at before. And, but again, this is a young player that's played a couple years in the league. We're having different times. It's not the same. And that might seem like nothing to the outside world, but there are different circumstances that affect all players. And I think, much like Ian asked about Niels, it's no different with these other young players as well. They're all affected in different ways. And, but it's good to see that, like he said, he's feeling better. He's skating more. He's getting more puck touches. And again, he's young still, and he's still progressing.
Also want to ask about Jace and Travis Hamonic. Will they travel with you guys? And is there a chance they could play soon?
Jace he's cleared to play already. Yeah. Hammer's still not. I'm not sure if I believe he's traveling with us.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for one more here. We'll go to Rob Williams.
Hi, Travis. You're playing JT Miller on the penalty kill now. What have you liked or disliked, or what have you seen from him there? And his minutes creeped up almost to 25 minutes last game with all the special teams. Are you comfortable with him playing that much, or do you have to look to get him more rest at 5-on-5?
Well, it's a good question. I did call Millsy in today and talked about his minutes, that I don't like them creeping up that much. And, it's funny, guys are competitive. They want to play as many minutes as they can. And on the other hand, I did tell him that I like his penalty killing. So I think when you have skilled players and hard players, there's a combination, with your penalty killers. You're lucky if you can find a guy that's very skilled and can kill penalties and is hard enough to do it and brave enough. And he has those qualities. I think he's a good penalty killer, and he's done a good job since we've added him. There was a lot of talk at the beginning of the year of our penalty killing not doing very well, and they've kind of clawed their way back into doing a pretty good job now. So I'll probably keep him on the penalty kill, and I might have to cut his ice in other places once in a while. Last night his minutes got a little bit high because of the amount of power plays that we had at the beginning of the game, and then we were chasing the game at the end of the game, and almost went down to pretty well two lines the last 5 minutes. And sometimes you do that as a coach, and you have visions of playing a guy 20 minutes, and you end up playing him a lot more. But he was also a big part of the tying goal, standing and being brave at the net front and facing a shot. So, but to answer your question again, I have liked his penalty kill. I believe his minutes, I don't like to see his minutes that high, and probably try not to get them that high.